All right, guys, we got big Bitcoin news coming out of Canada today. The first Bitcoin ETF in North America has been approved to launch in Canada. And apparently it will be available to buy as early as February 18th, which is just a few days away. So that makes it very interesting. So the investment firm Accelerate Financial has been approved in Canada. There have been US companies that have tried to get one through the SEC in the United States. So far, that hasn't been able to happen because people feel pretty funny about Bitcoin, particularly big banks. And you got to think that the banking industry in the States and the power that they have, the power of the lobbyists that they have over the financial systems in the States is a significant factor in that, obviously. There's a lot of money to be made, and they just don't like new players. Banking in general is very resistant to technical developments, which has been very frustrating. So anyhow, so this is really important because the fund is actually going to be offering units on the Toronto Stock Exchange, TSX, denominated in both US and Canadian dollars with a 0.7% management fee. So that's pretty interesting because it's very low. That's a very low fee. Obviously, Bitcoin has been a great performing asset. So previously, the other way to do it was the QBTC, also on the TSX. However, that is a closed-end fund, okay? And there's an important difference here because being a closed-end fund, the QBTC, what they do is they actually buy a bunch of Bitcoins and try to close things after the gap. So it's trading at a premium or a discount all of the time. And with Bitcoin going up, it's been trading at a significant premium, which means that if you buy Bitcoin, let's say, you're paying as much as 23%, or it could be more, but 23% at times over the actual price. So that's significant. And the ETF is going to be able to follow the price of Bitcoin much more effectively because it's an exchange traded fund rather than a managed fund. Okay, so basically with a managed fund, what they do is they have to buy a bunch of Bitcoins and then issue a fixed number of shares against those Bitcoins and then trade them on the open market. So that leaves the underlying value of the Bitcoin that skews towards being a premium when it's going up. So the question is, why would someone care? Why do you even need an ETF or a fund why would you want your Bitcoin in that? And there are some great arguments for having physical Bitcoin, well, not physical, but Bitcoin that you own. But the main benefit of having it in an ETF or a fund is it's a little bit liquid. So if you want to get out of that and then put your money into a stock, if you see Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies moving in a sideways position long term, then you have the option to do that. But the main benefit is you can actually put it in a tax-free savings account. So in Canada, they have a RSP and a registered savings plan, and also the TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account. And so that allows you to grow your investments tax-free. And that's the main reason that you'd want to have an ETF over actually buying Bitcoin on a cryptocurrency exchange, because there's lots of great cryptocurrency exchanges in Canada. I'll link to some of my favorites in the description below. So ETFs are actively traded throughout the day. They follow closely and they have less management fees. So that is significant when you're calculating your investments. Here's what the Motley Fool has to say. Avoid this mistake. So they're talking about QBTC. Obviously, Bitcoin's done well. And so here's how you can buy Bitcoin in your TFSA, right? So it gives you the exposure, but you can get out of it very quickly. And here's the problem that I was talking about. Each unit of QBTC was worth $34, whereas it closed at 41. So at the close of trading on Monday, it's traded at an 18% premium to its actual value. So while it's good to, get that exposure to Bitcoin, if you're overpaying 18%, plus you're paying a management fee. That's something that a lot of investors might be overlooking, because particularly when you're looking at premiums, if you're not a savvy investor, you're not going to really understand how to calculate how much of a premium that you're paying more than that. You're overpaying than you should be, for example. So this is for Canadian investors here. And then I also wanted to point out, so it's a green light from Ontario regulators. It's going to be coming out on the TSX, and it should be pretty interesting to see what happens with that. So here we are again. Purpose Investment is cleared to launch first Bitcoin ETF in the world. Okay, so this is pretty interesting, pretty exciting news that's coming out in Bitcoin. And again, I'm an advocate of owning Bitcoin on a cold storage wallet or on an exchange, but I definitely see the value of being able to hold it in a tax-free savings account where your investments can grow tax-free, particularly with the explosive potential of Bitcoin, which of course has crossed $60,000 per Bitcoin in Canada, which is significant. There's a whole bunch of reasons to be excited about Bitcoin. Keep in mind, they're not making any more of it. So that's the news for today. Big news. Keep your eye out for this ETF, which is coming out and should be available on the TSX starting soon. I anticipate that it will take off with a bang, because the people that understand, there's tons of people that have money right now in stocks, in a TFSA. They don't want to pull it out to actually buy Bitcoin, but when this opens up, it's going to allow them to, trade off their Apple stocks, or trade off their Amazon stocks, or trade off their, whatever stocks that they have, and, diversify into this ETF, which gives them exposure to Bitcoin. So big news. If you're excited about this, let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. And that is your Bitcoin news of the day.